Welcome to your new moon reading for the 13th of March. This reading will last, be in effect, hold true until April the 12th, when we'll have another new moon. This particular lunation is in Aquarius in the Vedic sidereal chart. And it is aspected by, it's conjunct Neptune and Mercury and under Saturn's influence. But it is a great time for us to ask ourselves, what the opportunity for personal alignment is in the moment. And I find that when the world outside is really wonky, as it is and has been for some time, it's best for me to turn my gaze inward, try very hard to align myself with my soul's vision, my hope for how I want my world to improve or appear. And a new moon is a great time just generally to try to end the war within in order to improve the kinds of things externally that we don't have a lot of control over. Do what you can do. And usually, for me anyway, that usually involves just myself. Now, this particular moon occurs in your 12th house. And because of Saturn's influence on that house, I'm thinking Saturn and Mercury, there might be some real improvements or things that you want to look at in your actual life structures, the larger structures of your life, the supportive pillars. It has a lot to do with the axis mundi and the bridge between heaven and earth, which we each are, right? So as you move forward into the month ahead, you may want to be thinking about those themes. Your first golden thread card today is the Five of Wands. I call this one the kerfuffle card. This one is generally mock fighting and kind of play fighting. The contestants in this battle are not really trying to kill each other. They're more learning about the boundaries of play and learning about the game that they're involved in. This card could represent some internal struggles that you're working with. I got this card in my personal reading today, the one that I did for myself as well. And that's definitely what it's representing, is like, how am I going to bring all these different and disparate forces into some sort of harmony? And there's just a lot of spear rattling and clacking going on inside right now. We'll give it 12 hours, and once the new moon energy really kicks in, it'll be happening about 3 a.m. my time. Then we'll see if there's not a difference there or if it's something that we need to work with going forward. So as an underlying theme, that one is there for you. And then it seems to proceed on along the same theme with the Seven of Wands. But in this particular card set, there's one man in the traditional Rider WAITE. There's one person standing on a hill defending against some unseen swords below. And it's kind of a standing your ground card. There is some success associated with it, though. So it looks like there's currently a kerfuffle, but there's also some ground that you're gaining as you proceed on with this for the next lunar cycle. And now we'll do your Celtic cross spread, and I'm looking for a signifier, something, Pisces, that will help me discover this inner meaning for your alignment of self to self, the way forward under Saturn's influence for you to align yourself more closely with your soul, come more in contact, more tangential to Spirit's intention for your lunar cycle. And this card has presented itself as your signifier. And that means that for the sake of this reading, this is the symbol of you. This is the Two of Wands. I like to think of this one as Alexander after the conquests, right? He has basically conquered the world. And now he is taking stock, right? He's planning and making decisions. He's maybe even thinking about leaving home. Maybe bringing yourself into alignment will require you to alter your life structures. And one of those structures may be the place where you live. As you can see, he's in this opulent place. He's staring at a globe, which at that time, you know, in medieval history or in Alexander's time, would have been a very rich object to have. So he's got quite a lot behind him as he makes these plans. The energy, the creation, the willpower is with him. He is covered by the Four of Wands, and this is a celebration card. It's a minor celebration. It's a victory, definitely a success. I don't want to belittle it. It's public reward and kind of recognition, but it's in the community, home, and familial area. It is temporary. This is not a lasting structure, but it is a natural structure. It is a creation of the will, and there's some energy there. You are crossed by the transformation card of death. Now, death is kind of a scary looking card, and the iconography on there is not the most cheerful thing that you'll ever see, but it is about transformation, and it's also about the end of a cycle, and it's upright. In its reversed, or as an obstacle, as we're reading it here, this is the fear of change. This is about not letting go, and the stagnation and the decay that can come from being unwilling to move on. So it doesn't look like you're actually unwilling to move on. It looks like you're making plans to do that very thing. However, there may be some small and temporary structure having to do with your home or your family that's standing in the way of your transformation. The sun will still rise. It does not matter. The Hermit. You may have to go it alone, though. That's one reading of it. The Hermit is another major arcana card, so, you know, big doings going on here. But this can be wise counsel. This can be contemplation and the search for truth. It can be your inner guidance, but the older readings of this card generally indicate that there is an advisor who is available to you. It could even be your own inner self or your soul itself. He dwarfs this landscape that he walks upon, and he is guided by an ideal, a star. The stars that appear in the Rider WAITE tarot are very significant forms of hope. They are beacons of light. And this one no less than that. So there may be wise counsel coming to you to help you with this transformation that seems a little stuck. It seems also that you may need it. And the reason that you may be stuck at this point is because there's been some loss involved. And let's face it, at this point in life, in where we've been in the last little while, I don't know many people who haven't suffered a loss or two. I don't know too many people that haven't gotten a spilled cup. You know, that's a nice way of saying it, I guess. But the point of this particular card is that if he turns around and looks behind him, not only are there 2 more cups and they're full, there's also a way across the river and a town in the distance. So he's not without options. I'm assuming it's a he. He looks kind of he-ish. Not without hope and not without ways to proceed. And proceeding away from an unsatisfying, disappointing, difficult cup, right? Like, he's got a cup there that's being offered that he does not want in this card. And then the foundation is that even 1 more cup was there, still not wanted, and then a bunch of things happened. And there was a sort of sadness that came out of the apathy of the past. There was like a contemplation that was going on there that rendered you disconnected in one way or another. Something upset the apple cart, maybe. Maybe it was a pretty good scene for a while, and there was a lot of fun to be had, but things are changing. Things are turning. There's a turning of the wheel. And you're moving toward the same card that was on the bottom of your Golden Thread Tarot. Oh, I'm sorry. This is actually 1 wand more. This is the 8. This is the 9. I'm sorry. I can't count wands. This is the 9 of wands. And this person, it's not the same card. This one was the 7. So you have the 5, the 7, you have the 2, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8 of wands. Definitely progressing along a path of willpower, of energy, of creation. And this is the one that's just before completion. So the number 9 is, a hard-won, valorous battle that this guy's kind of been through. It's resilience, it's grit. He's making a last stand here. There's been some disappointment. There's been some difficulty, but you're still in the game. You're still standing strong. You've got some good counsel. You've still got the benefit of 2 full cups and a way forward in this transformation. Maybe your plans didn't turn out exactly the way you wanted them to. And once again, we can all relate to that. But it looks like you're ready to move ahead, albeit a little battered and torn. Now this, the 9 of Swords, as your current state, as how you feel in this moment, as representative of you, as this moment comes to pass, is the Sleepless Nights card. And this one is an air energy that's a little bit more difficult than the Wands energy in the sense of thoughts. This is like a real world, actual readiness, and you've been through a lot, but you're still standing kind of card. This is your thoughts are really attacking you. And this can always be a problem for all of us, but for a Pisces especially, because your nature is so spiritual that if you get caught up in mental difficulty, you can sometimes forget your spiritual nature. You can forget how life isn't really what it appears to be in all your anxiety and hopelessness and trauma. nobody would come to Earth if they knew what was going to happen to them. And there's not a single person here who doesn't go through difficulty. You know, it's a series of interactions with joy and ache. It's up and down all the time. But when our minds take over in a negative way, when our minds tell us in the wee hours of the night, we're not going to make it, you know, we can be our own worst enemies with this. And you have the grit and determination to move forward. Don't let your mentality overcome the things that you do have going for you, because there's quite a lot here in this transformation. There may have been a bit of a heartbreak. The Three of Swords is one of the most challenging, thought-involved cards. And I say thought-involved because have you ever been in love and you were so sure, like your first love, right? Unless you're one of those rare people whose first love was their last love, nothing was going to convince you that that person wasn't the one and forever, especially at the moment of suffering, the moment of grief, the moment of sadness, or if some cruelty has happened that's keeping you awake at night. However, overcoming loss, transforming from good to bad, bad to good, you know, as we call it that way, is not inherently wrong or evil. It is simply what happens to us as we go through the transformation of coming into alignment with our true selves. The further we are away from true self, the more suffering there may be. And it looks like there is some suffering going on, as this is the all around you card. Now, one other possibility occurs to me here. This could be a very large loss that has happened to you. And if that is the case, and all around you there is this grief and loss and heartbreak happening right now, do know that you have the tenacity and the willpower and the grit to overcome what you face. I hear a lot people saying that you never get a challenge that you can't handle. And I wonder how true that is. But it looks like in this reading, that actually is true, because you have the energy and the creation and the willpower. You have 9 wands to help you overcome whatever these mental issues and problems are. The grief is real. There's a loss here of one sort or another, but you have wise counsel and you have the grit and determination to overcome it. Your hopes and fears, the next adventure, right? This is the Hero's Journey card, the Knight of Wands, and yet another representation of energy, creation, willpower, you know, the utility of the staff, the blossoming wand. And this guy, this Knight of Wands, is all about action and adventure. He's about fearlessness, and you know, he's just that hero archetype where he's gonna sweep in there. I know they're not the same person. It's not the same energy. And you're fearing this, but you're also hoping for it. You have what it takes to move forward boldly. And your outcome card is the Sun. That's so great. I'm so happy for you. After all this difficulty, Pisces, it really looked like, you may not have believed in yourself enough. You may not have believed in your wise counsel, in what you are really able to do here. In my personal reading this morning, the Sun was here in another way forward kind of card. And I think when you get the Sun, which is the most creative, the highest, literally in terms of status, like physical status, and it's a card that represents joy and success, celebration and positivity. It really looks like you have the energy, the creativity and the willpower to overcome what looks like it's been very mentally and quite possibly emotionally draining for you. There was a structure here that somehow departed one way or another, and it was very mentally difficult to accept. However, you're getting back on the horse. You're going to be like a child on the horse in the sunflower field. It's looking good. Keep your head up and keep working toward your goal. Now, if you're not a goal person, this mastery card, the Eight of Pentacles, could definitely be your relationship of you to you. And if that's what this reading describes, a difficulty empathizing with yourself, relating to yourself, not blaming yourself, loving yourself, then you're doing the work. And in my estimation, the work is the most important thing that you can do. Recognizing that we have a short period of time while we live and breathe to be able to reconcile ourselves with our souls, and that this is the workshop in which we do that, is wisdom itself. It's awakening itself, and the diligence, the passion for the work, and the high standards that this card imparts to the whole reading, which represents a real cycle on the earth plane, an actual, turn of the wheel, if you will. You can't go through life without a flat tire. You're not going to get through life without a broken heart, without difficult thoughts that need to be overcome and challenging situations. But if you are committed to working hard toward the grit, determination, and being there, showing up for yourself, shining, and no matter what the weather, you're going to have good days and bad days, but if you continue to show up for yourself, you're doing it. You're already doing it. You're already succeeding. There's already joy there. It goes with you. It follows with you. This is in your second house, this new moon, and it's about your income and your possessions, your expenses and your spending. A lot of people also think it's about partnerships, and this reading could absolutely be about that as well. Whatever's going on in your second house, though, the most important relationship, the most important commodity there is you and how you relate to yourself. It looks like you either have come together with that in a beautiful way, or you will be. If this difficulty is with you now or in your future, please take heart. You have everything that you need to overcome it and move forward. A little raggedy, but move forward in camouflage. The fox is card number 25 in the animal cards deck. And this one is about oneness, right? It can be about plant allies, kind of hiding you, and being the observer, being unwatched as you go through this process. If this is about you and you, which it looks like it is, although it could be about you and anything else, you may need to be undetected as you go through this process. You may need to do this one on your own. Links, secrets. And links is not the card of unknown secrets. It's not like they're not known to you. Links is the knower of the secrets. And maybe this hard-won knowledge, this kind of struggle that you've had to go through in order to gain the knowledge of your soul, to gain the alignment the joy, and, you know, the mastery that this reading seems to represent is, it's just a knowing silence that kind of comes to me with the fox and the lynx card, that you're just kind of moving through a turbulent spirit, or a turbulent time, with a calm, quiet spirit now. The best you can do on planet Earth. I think that's a pretty good reading. And I want to thank you so much for your time and attention, Pisces. I think honestly that this is a very intriguing reading. I'm not exactly sure how you'll interpret it, but I'd love to know. If you want to give me a bit of a signal down in the comments, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it and how it landed for you. If you feel like you might want to subscribe or like or share, I would be incredibly grateful for that. And I thank you very much for your time today, for letting me share this beautiful reading with you. It was quite a journey. Have a great night and a wonderful lunar cycle. Thank you again. Bye-bye.